It is a tandem episode presented by Source for Sports Surrey, the Hockey Shop, thehockeyshop.com. This is In Goal Radio, the podcast. Hi, everybody. I'm Darren Millard. The NHL season is underway, and we have all kinds of stories that we're following over at In Goal Magazine regarding new gear, new masks, new places, new performances. We will keep you up to date with everything and some new techniques. But today, we are going to look back with the World Junior Hockey Championships, and I mentioned tandem episode because we are going to talk to the two goaltenders that were front and center with Team USA, and next week, the two goaltenders that were part of Team Canada. So get it, tandems in tandem in back-to-back weeks as we bring in the co-founders of In Goal Magazine. Here is David Hutchison and Kevin Woodley. Hutch, you're just looking at me with that sideways glance that always concerns me. Like I've said something totally wrong. Is that true, or is that just your dad face that we always look to dad and go, why are you mad at me? I'm not. Why are you mad at me?
No. It's more like that feeling I had when the game was tied and somebody's coming in on a bull rush from the wing, and I know the game's in my hands, and I don't know what Darren's about to lob my way, and I have to be ready for. So that's the reality. I
promised last week that I would go to you first, and mission accomplished. Kevin Woodley also with us on this one. We'll get over to the Hockey Shop, thehockeyshop.com, and Source for Sports Surrey to discuss our gear segment before the feature interview presented by Sense Arena. Woody, it's no thing that you would want to take lightly because it's been nice to be back in the rinks, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been nice to watch. Everybody's been behaving on the media side, making sure that we get invited back, keeping our distance, wearing our masks, being smart, being safe. And it is nice to be back in a rink watching hockey, watching the goalies do their extra work at training camp here in Vancouver, watching the new gear. A couple surprises in there. We've had it on the Instagram, on the gram, the IG, whatever the kids call it these days. How about Thatcher Demko rolling in CCM E-Flex 5 after being the sort of career Brian's guy? There was the shocker for you. But yeah,
and a career playoff in those games in the bubble.
I got a text message.
What's he doing?
I got a text message from Eddie Lack, who is also a longtime Brian's guy, going, "What the hell?" After that playoff, and then I guess Eddie texted Thatcher and started chirping him a little bit too. But I guess he had a set of marquees that he tried, and there's certainly a pattern there in terms of Ian Clark goalies here with the Vancouver Canucks ending up in CCM. We saw Markey make the switch from Bauer to CCM the last couple of years, and so I think there's a push there. But he tried the set that Markey left behind, liked it. Ordered one of his own, liked it. He was in it, and it was nice to be in the rink to sort of quite literally was there 45 minutes before practice and before the rest of the media to film. And this is the good tease for the In Goal Premium members, to film the practice session with Ian Clark, Thatcher Demko, Mikey DiPietro, and then later in the day, Braden Holtby. And what a pleasant surprise that I was alone with a video camera, the only one in the building basically at the time that wasn't part of the Canucks, as Demko rolls out in those E-Flex 5 for the first time. So we captured it all. And yeah, it's been tough you can't be everywhere. And a lot of the other accounts doing a great job of keeping track of all these changes. But it's interesting not having anyone in the rinks all over the place. There's sometimes you're just leaning on team accounts. San Jose Sharks, I talked to Devin Dubnyk the other day. I'm like, dude, could you get them to take a picture of your pads for us? Because they just kept taking shots of like heads and shoulders of the goalies. We hadn't seen the pads. So it's a fun time of year, and it's fun to be back in person as well at the rink here in Vancouver.
You mentioned Eddie Lack. Congratulations. He's a dad, so that's very cool.
Sophia Goldie Lack.
Sure it'll be a great one.
Yeah, I've seen a picture. She's a beauty. She got her dad's nose, but it's not going to be a problem because she's still just absolutely gorgeous. And, Eddie's actually hung out with my kids before in the past up in Kelowna, and my kids don't give a rat's patootie about hockey. But they love Eddie because he was so good with them when they were younger. And so it's like 5-6 years ago. So my youngest was, like 7 or 8. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Guy's going to be an absolute rock star of a dad, just like he was a player.
So we will we'll follow his progress there as he goes through all the experiences that we have. And it's going to be a wild ride. I loved what he posted about his life changed forever. And it has. We have the feature interview coming up, brought to you by Sense Arena. But out of the gate, let's check in with our friends over at the Hockey Shop, Source for Sports Surrey and thehockeyshop.com. Woody, a lot going on.
Yeah, this one is in the bag, Darren. We're going to take a look at bags. I heard you might be in need of a new one, and we can discuss wheels or not later on. But if you're looking for anything new right now in the gear segment, Hockey Shop, source for sports, thehockeyshop.com is the place to be. I've been talking for weeks about the sales that have kind of extended from Black Friday and into Christmas. Those are still on. But if there's something that's not on sale, little bonus episode here. In goal 20 discount. Anything you're looking to buy on the site that's not already on sale, when you're on there, hit the checkout, throw in the in goal 20 discount code, and you're going to be pleasantly surprised at the 20% you save. So make sure, again, whatever you're looking for, whatever you need, in goal 20 discount code. Starts as soon as you hear this episode. I don't have an end date on it right now, to be honest with you. So we're at least going for a full week until the next episode. Pretty much everything in the store is going to be in goal 20 discount code. Obviously, there are some exceptions in terms of map pricing and things like that. But just make sure you head to the checkout and enter the in goal 20 code. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at what you save. Like I said, anything that's not already on sale, it should apply to. So make sure you check that out at thehockeyshop.com. I know you're there all the time, Darren. Now you get a little extra bonus because we don't actually help you out with any discounts ourselves, but you are going to be able to save using the in goal 20 discount.
That's outstanding. I'll be going there as soon as we are done putting this podcast episode to bed, as we have a lot to unpack in this edition of our visit over to the Hockey Shop, thehockeyshop.com, source for sports Surrey. Let's bring in Cam, who's standing by with Woody. Oh, gentlemen.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Hockey Shop, source for sports. I'm Kevin. He's Cam. You've seen the lengths that he will go to, for those of you watching on the simulcast and checking out the video. For those of you just listening to us on the podcast, we are here at the Hockey Shop, source for sports, at thehockeyshop.com. You missed the intro where Cam is actually sitting in a CCM bag. And to me, this is just the lengths that this man will go to figure out and determine which bags hold the most. Either that or to have a quick nap on the job. We are going to go through the rest of the bags that Cam has here in the store, on display, and on sale for a special Ingo promo code that you need to stick around to the end of the episode to hear about. So Cam, when somebody comes into the store and says they want a goalie bag, what's the first question you ask? There are different options, and how do you determine which one's the best for them?
2 questions. 1, wheel or carry. 2, pads in or pads out. Really kind of negates where they're going to end up in terms of our bag selection and what we have to offer, which we have quite a few offerings. If you're wheeling around your gear, you got a couple different ways you can kind of go. Most of my wheel bags that I have, they're all going to fit pads inside the bag. Or if you want, you can carry it. It does take a little bit of feng shui to get all your pads in and whatnot, but there is a certain way to pack your gear properly. Starting off at the very end, we can take a look. We got our 2 Vaughn bags, the V9. The Vaughn bag hasn't changed a whole lot over the years. It's been a good staple for us. I can remember when my parents came here and got me a Vaughn bag for Christmas, actually, years and years and years ago. We have both the intermediate size and a senior size in particular. So your 8, 9, 10, pushing 11, potentially fits something like this bag. Moving on up to the senior, that will fit obviously a little bit more. The bag itself is a little bit more compact. I would say, you know what, for something like this, I would still probably carry my pads on the outside. However, again, given a little bit of patience in packing, you can fit everything inside, no problem.
And this is obviously a bag that does come with wheels.
That's correct. Still on the wheel bag side of things, and once we kind of move down a little bit, we'll switch over to carry. One of my good go-to bags, especially in that smaller range, the Brian's intermediate wheel bag that I got here. A couple nice features. It does have that nice pull-out handle. Makes it nice and easy to roll around, especially for those kids. They should be able to fit their pads in here, no problem. All their gear without having to have too much organization, which is a little tough at that age for sure. So great bag option. I love it. If you need something a little bit bigger, you can jump up to their senior size, which is just right beside it. Nice plug by Brian's right there. Good, great logo. B-Star. Moving on down, switching it up a little bit. We move over to some of our carry bags that we have.
Wait. I have one question, Cam.
Oh,
Do you ever ask the people who are looking at the bags with the wheels what kind of car they drive?
now
Does it matter?
it can. I mean, if you all of a sudden you show up and you've got a little Fiat Panda, there's an old car for someone who knows what that is. Like, it's just not going to work. You got to have the trunk space for it, or foldable back seat and whatnot to be able to fit. Like, it really depends on the car you're driving. But if you are driving a little subcompact and you're a goalie already, like you already know kind of what you're in for.
Personal note for me, the one thing I've had experience with is it's not just the size of the trunk and whether you can fit it in, but you need to take consideration, of your car, how you care for it, how much you care about it. Because the one thing about wheel bags is they've got that hard plastic ribbing on the bottom. And if you're not careful, if you just plan on reaching in and yanking it out, you can really do damage, especially to a sedan, sort of to that back deck lid, dragging that plastic in and out of a trunk.
You brought back a little bit of PTSD of my mom screaming at me for pulling my wheel bag out of her Volkswagen Jetta at the time.
There may have been a few curse words. There may have been a few curse words.
Choice words. Sentence enhancers.
Choice words in your house. In my house, there were a few curse words at myself the first time I dragged one of those ribs across those ribbed plastic bottoms across the back of one of my cars. So yeah, there's something to keep it. It is something to keep in mind. Obviously, we're asking goalie questions, but for parents, you probably should consider your car and whether it's going to fit. And if not, if you're worried about it, then you get into these ones here, Cam, the carry bags.
Exactly. So obviously no wheels, carry bag, but smooth bottom to it as well. So
this is the Warrior model.
This is the Warrior one, yes. But this is consistent across all the carry bags. Is that smooth bottom? So you referenced that earlier about having to worry about the scratches on your car and whatnot. That's one way to kind of keep and make sure that's going to stay pristine.
Smooth bottom bagged, Cam.
These Warrior carry bags that we have in particular, I've got quite a few different colors, so good chance I can find something that's going to line up with your team. I like this carry bag a lot. It's served us very well over the years. It's evolved a little bit. It used to have mesh lining. That mesh lining used to break. Warrior paid attention and listened. They took that away to make it a nice, smooth finish. Great bag. Sell a boat to them. Love recommending it.
The little, have one myself, like the little compartment. I know most of them have them, but always nice to be able to, I know like some guys like to put a number, their jersey number in there. Frankly, I find it a great spot for holding the lock and key.
Lock and key identification if you're traveling, where to return this bag if it gets lost. Always good points to have that little holder there. Moving one down, Bauer, they've come up with a newer carry bag. Basically very, very similar to the Warrior, actually, in particular.
Bigger, though. Looks like it's bigger.
Yes,
yeah. Is this a bag you can fit a set of pads in?
Again, a little bit of feng shui when it comes to carrying your gear, especially with pads on the inside, can be a little bit tough. Most of the time, I recommend with the carry bags that you are holding onto your pads, either slinging them over your shoulder or whatnot, or even grabbing them by the knee stacks, in particular, in my case. I just find it can be a little bit tough and kind of awkward to carry with it all together. That said, if you're traveling and you're using a carry bag and you want to be able to throw everything in, there's another great suggestion there for you as well.
Hey, now here's a company we're going to hear a lot more about in the near future in the goalie department. True.
Nice. Good.
Goalie bag.
Vinyl PU leather bag in particular. A little bit smaller in comparison to some of the other bags that we just saw there too. So figures a little bit more compact, especially like a smaller kid transitioning into a carry bag might be a little bit more manageable for them. As opposed to lugging around this big giant bag in particular. So, another great option in terms of our carry bags.
And now a couple of the monsters.
Yes, we're back to the wheel bags in particular, and the two biggest wheel bags that I've got. The CCM one, what you saw me pop out of there a little bit earlier on, for those that were watching actually in the video there. This is the biggest bag that I got. Nothing fancy on the inside, but this will hold all your gear and more.
Pads go in, no problem.
Pads go in, no problem. All your gear, even everything a little bit extra. So if you're, again, really needing to have that wheel bag and fit everything possible, that's going to be your guy right there for sure.
And I'm thinking you're probably going to need to either be in a truck or at least a good-sized SUV if you're fitting this one in the back of the car. No sedans allowed.
Exactly. You might find it a little bit hard to get it in some of those subpack cars there, but yeah, another great option.
And last but not least,
If you are looking to be a little bit more organized, I do have this Warrior one as well. So still offering a similar level of size, but offering a couple more pockets and a little bit more compartmentalized. There, say that a couple times fast.
compartmentalized. Not that hard.
Compartmentalized. Yeah, that. What you said. Nice, cool feature of the Warrior bag is it actually has even a spot to toss your stick in as well. Just another feature we just don't normally see in the bags. Just another way to hold everything all together. Again, keeping it a little bit more organized. But before you finish, there's actually one more bag. It happens to sit right over front of my office.
Ooh, it gets
Don't forget
the special
the legendary Grit Sumo bags. Now, these are a bag that's been around for a little while as well. Again, for the real organized person, the ability to fully stack your gear and have it all sitting out in front of you in the locker room. So if your locker room's a little bit more compact, you can't spread out everywhere like I enjoy doing, and you need to be a little bit tighter spaced, that will set all of your gear right out in front of you. The pads actually clip to the outside of the bag through that bungee strap that you see on the other one there. I've got both a junior size and a senior size. Definitely, again, the bag, you're going to need that bigger SUV truck to be able to carry. It is a little weighty right off the bat without gear into it. So you want to make sure you know what kind of you're getting yourself into. But that said, if you're looking to have everything in front of you, all organized and ready to go, Grit Sumo Tower, another great option.
And you're wheeling that one anyways.
That's correct, yes.
So in terms of weight, it's not as big an issue because you're not slinging it over your shoulder. Now, the one thing you mentioned for those of us who take our pads, as I look at the pad wall behind you, and carry them outside of the bag, you talked about grabbing by the knee stack, grabbing by the toe ties, but you can actually buy a pad carrier, can you not?
Yes, we can. Oh, nice little plug here from Brian's to carry the Brian's pad carry strap. Here's available from the Hockey Shop for only $10.
Sweet. And you can fit it in that giant bag you're going to go take another nap in.
Exactly. Well, I know what the rest of my day is booked in for.
All right, folks, if you got any bag needs, make sure you check out Cam at the Hockey Shop, thehockeyshop.com. He'll set you up, whether you need a bag to carry your pads, just your gear, carry the pads yourself, or you just want something big enough you can take a nap in it. Cam's got you set.
Thanks, Cam.
Now, at the start of that, you let him out of the equipment bag. Did you really? Was there part of you thinking maybe just throw a padlock on that thing and make him sweat it out for a while?
Oh, before we started filming, I basically just started walking up the stairs, stomping, and said, just kind of like tried to make my voice fade as I left the room, and like, see you, Cam. As he was
turn the lights off.
As he was locked in that bag, and of course we're there before hours now. Obviously, with COVID, we want to be doing this before, even though we're wearing masks. We want to do it before there's customers in the store, and so there's nobody else around. So if I've got Cam locked in that equipment bag and I leave and turn the lights off, it's see you later. Hope somebody shows up when the store opens in 2 hours to let you out, buddy.
That's kind of unfair and mean, but really, really awesome.
I was tempted.
So where do you guys fall into the wheels or no wheels? I do need a new bag, and I've been wheels for a while, and I'm going to go with a carry bag for the first time. Am I out in left field? Am I behind the times? Or am I like sort of right in the middle of the flow? Hutch.
You're probably a cool kid, Darren. I think you're doing it the right way. Yeah, no, totally. I was, for the longest time, I was a wheel guy. I am a physics teacher, so I figured the wheel was invented for a reason, and I better take advantage of that. I am not too proud to wheel my bag across the parking lot. But then it kind of fell apart, and as you pointed out, it becomes a lot more awkward to work with a wheeled bag that's broken and a lot heavier. And I'm also cheap, and now my kid is playing on a team where he gets a bag most years, so I'm just dad dealing with the hand-me-downs now. I get the hand-me-down gear too because he's way taller than me, so I just get the stuff that doesn't fit him anymore, and the hand-me-down bag. So part probably a carry bag now, but I'm okay with wheels, and I'm okay with kids getting help with it too. But you guys are way cooler than me.
Yeah, I don't listen. I said in the segment, the only reason I don't have wheels on my bag is because I find that the hard plastic bottom can really wreak havoc if you've got a sedan or a trunk that you put a car into. I had one that had absolutely wrecked on me. And that's the only reason. Like, I'm not too proud. I would absolutely wheel a bag in if I had a truck or something that was easier to sort of yank it out of and not do damage to. But you know how vain I am, Darren, and how much of a loser I am when it comes to little details like scratches on my car and things like that. So I need the soft leather bag.
Absolutely ruined your car with one little scratch, probably, that nobody else could
I was
see.
going to say, nobody's arguing with them.
Yeah.
That's true. Snap.
I'll let you guys know, and I will be on checking out that promo code in goal 20. How cool is that? Let's slide over to a couple of guys that have new equipment bags themselves. Team USA. They also have some other merchandise to put inside those bags, although they probably wouldn't. That being gold medals. And this is a really cool couple of weeks that we have on In Goal Radio, the podcast. Next week is going to be Team Canada netminders Devin Levi and Dylan Garan. And today, it's Spencer Knight and Dustin Wolf. So we've got Canada next week and Team USA this week. We opted to go with Team USA because they won. And champions, they get the front of the line. We know that. So this is a really cool conversation presented by Sensorina VR. Looking forward to this, Woody.
Yeah, no, and two guys that we've had on before. Obviously, Spencer Knight, we just thoroughly enjoyed. We had him for almost an hour in his draft here before he went in and was the first goalie picked a couple of years ago here in Vancouver in the draft by the Panthers, 13th overall, and was so impressed with him. Same with Dustin Wolf during the pause. Like, just the way these guys think the game, the approach, that no stone unturned mentality to find new ways to get better. And the willingness to share ideas when you engage them, when you ask them from the perspective, what advice would you give to a kid? And you'll hear this in the interview. They've got some great insights, some great feedback, some great advice that I think a lot of young goalies could take advantage of by listening to this interview. So they may not be, well, I guess Wolfie's just turning pro now. Potentially there's some things up in the air in terms of WHL season and can he play in the A, and we'll see how that goes. But these guys are, Spencer's still in college, and yet, I find the insights that they share with us have just as much value as when we're talking with a, 10-year veteran to the National Hockey League. So really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed how open and honest they are with us. And I hope the listeners do too.
Brought to you by Sense Arena VR. As we look forward to this one, Hutch, there's some lessons here. There's a lot to digest in this conversation when it comes to being a good teammate as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of lessons in this conversation with these two guys, and I think we should mention that with Sense Arena, there's some great lessons now too. Sense Arena, who sponsors our free cheer interview, when you first turn it on, it can be a little bit daunting because there's so much there and so much available to you. And one of the things that the most recent release added was guided training plans. And I think it was a fantastic ad because you can open up the app now and you can go straight into a training plan, and you're guided by, for example, Bill Ranford, goaltending coach of the Stanley Cup. Bill Ranford, 3-time Stanley Cup champ and goaltending coach of the Los Angeles Kings. And he works you through day by day what you can be doing and how he best sees it apply to your game on the ice. And having that guided way of using Sense Arena, I think, will really help your training and really helps you know how you can sort of attack things in probably, a more technical way and a more advantageous way. Still a ton there to work with. You've still got all sorts of freedom and to use this tool to help your game, as so many people are. And I actually had a wonderful conversation with Devin and Dylan about Sense Arena as well, not realizing how much they loved it as well and how much they saw it translate, as we've heard from many pros, onto the ice. Just using Sense Arena, as part of your warm-up routine in the morning, guys are finding it really helps as you get onto the ice with your tracking. So having those guided programs from guys like Bill Ranford and having those tools to work is really a game changer for everybody. So Really thankful for Sense Arena to help us present this feature interview.
This is one of the most unique conversations we have presented on In Goal Radio, the podcast. I'm so excited for you to hear the discussion between Spencer and Dustin, along with Kevin, on In Goal Radio, the podcast, presented by Sense Arena. Here is the feature interview.
All right, so this is kind of exciting. This is unique. We don't normally bring in three voices. It can get a little awkward to juggle, but you guys are both goaltenders, so you probably know how to juggle. Dustin Wolf and Spencer Knight, World Junior champions. How does it feel? Like, is it sunk in, guys, that that you guys are the World Junior champions? Have you had a chance to let this sink in?
Yeah, I mean, I'll touch on that a little bit to start off, but yeah, I mean, it's weird to think that game was, I think, almost like a week ago or whatever it was. It's honestly a moment that you'll never forget, and to do it in Canada, and with the team we had, which we were so close, me and Wolfie too, it was awesome. That's honestly something I'll never forget.
Yeah, I mean, just to add on that, like, even right after we were able to win, like, I remember me and Knight are just looking at ourselves like we don't believe this is like happening right now. It kind of just flew by, like, as soon as it ended until we left the hotel the next morning. It all kind of just a blur. So obviously super grateful to be part of such an amazing group, and something to remember forever for sure.
Well, now, what was the timeline like? You did not get much time to enjoy or celebrate this. You were gone the next morning, out of the bubble. Spencer, you've already played a game back for Boston College, and nicely done. I see you extended the old unbeaten streak to 14. And Dustin, you're already in camp with the Flames. So, like, did you have a chance to absorb this, or was it just one night and boom, gone, everybody their separate ways?
Yeah, I mean, it was, we got off the ice. Everyone was kind of hanging out in the locker room, got dressed, and we got back to the hotel. Obviously, everyone's hanging out for a while there that night. But then everyone kind of parted ways that morning, early morning. And yeah, I mean, it was quick, but I think it's still there. That feeling of, winning gold, it's still there. But I mean, it was, a quick night, but it was definitely, well spent for sure.
And you, Dustin, a little bit of an awkward car ride the next morning?
Not as bad as it probably would have seemed, but LeBar was a tremendous person in that car ride. I didn't want to take that gold medal off, and fortunately he didn't shred me too much about it, but it was pretty awesome. I actually didn't have to leave until like 11 o'clock the next morning, so I was able to get a little bit of sleep, but some guys had to leave at 4:30 in the morning, which didn't get any rest, but after a win like that, you really can't sleep. So, it was just something that will go down as history as something's pretty special, and awesome to spend it with that group.
And a unique one, guys, like in this unique time. And, Dustin, I've talked to you during sort of the pause when there was no hockey and all the different things you were trying to do to stay sharp. What about these circumstances? Like, how did that manifest itself for you guys? Like, in terms of being in a bubble, how different was that? Training camp, like everything you guys had to go through and sacrifice, frankly, to be away from people as long as you were to be a part of this. Does it make it, it's weird to say special in such a tough time, but it's so different. What do you guys think about it looking back at the whole experience?
Yeah, it was, I'll start, but it was definitely unique. Getting to Michigan, and we had our camp there, we're tested, I think, every other day. And it all seemed pretty normal, but then we got hit with, two guys going down to tests. One guy test positive, so him and his roommate had to, obviously weren't able to come, and I think it kind of put a little scare in everyone. And then eventually we got out to Edmonton. We had our 4-day quarantine. We're meeting on Zoom 3 times a day. Meals delivered to your room. We're doing workouts in the room and all that stuff. And it was an experience that was a bit of a grind at times mentally. I think. We didn't really get to go outside even, and you're just, you're wondering like, what is this? This is different. It's not real life. in terms of, going back and forth, but you have to find ways to stay focused and also find ways to have fun in the bubble. And I think, for me and Wolfie, for sure, I know after a couple of days, we started playing a lot of ping pong, and we played ping pong, I think, almost every single night. And me, him, and a couple other guys, and we played so much ping pong at night after dinner, before dinner. And that was kind of a way to, kind of bond and, get out of our rooms a bit. So just finding things like that.
Like Spencer said, we were on Zoom like 3 to 4 times a day. We had a couple different calls with former World Junior guys that are in the NHL now, and a couple of different coaches. But we did a lot of meetings in terms of getting to know each other, even though a lot of us had already known one another for quite a long time. So I think that kind of just built the bond right off the hop. Even when we were just in our room for 4 days, just getting through that and being able to try to maintain your what you call strength, I guess, with limited resources. But once we got out of the bubble and we were able to, just kind of create our own routines in terms of having to keep the Clear app like updated on our symptoms and the daily COVID tests, and the same food that just kind of got old after a while. But I think like Nider said, the ping pong kind of brought a bunch of us together. We played a ton of it. I'd like to say my game improved quite a bit over the period, but now I probably won't play ping pong for quite a while. But as interesting there was a lot of positives to come out of it, and it was definitely an experience for the history books for sure.
Okay, so ping pong, like a lot of eye-hand coordination. I mean, there's probably, we as goalies, we can probably find positive correlation in any activity. But were there other things you guys found, whether it was the 4 days in your room, were any of the Zoom calls goalie specific, past goalies, any advice, or did you guys use video? I talked to some guys that, when they got stuck in the room, they used video and were using that to sort of try and keep themselves in a goalie mind frame. We got a lot of kids all around, North America and the world right now that are stuck not being able to get on the rink and probably looking for some advice like, hey, how do I get better when I can't get on the ice? Anything from your guys' experience that you think might translate?
Yeah. I thought, ping pong was great because it got me moving a little bit, and obviously the hand-eye coordination, but it's also just fun, get out and do that. And for me, when I was in my room, at least, we would do a lot. We did a workout, and then I would do a lot of stretching and stuff of that nature. And I think that's one thing that I found that I could really hone in on during the time of quarantine and just work on it, just keep my body in at least somewhat of a good spot, I think. And for me, I knew I had a lot of hockey coming up. So, I mean, I do a lot of that program, the Visual Edge stuff. I use that in quarantine a lot just to kind of keep my, eyes somewhat, dialed as I was going through the quarantine. I think that actually helped a lot. And because that's something, when I was playing a lot of games and practicing, I didn't really want to do because you're already doing so much. But when I was in quarantine and I wasn't doing much, that program of using that stuff I think it's game changing. So.
Yeah, just to add on that, I think like the visualization sort of aspect of that, I think that does wonders for you. A lot of people don't really know the benefits of it, but I like to, especially like day before, morning of, even if I'm not playing, like visualize yourself in the game, like feeling the shots hit you, and like the feelings you're going to go through in terms of maybe you pop in mid game. You're going to be a little excited or a little bit nervous, and just trying to manage those emotions and being able to dive right into your game. But between that and meditation is also really good. But again, like in terms of stuff you can do physically, I think like juggling is really good. The ping pong was really enjoyable. Just to hang out with some buddies and utilize the resources that you had. So for people stuck at home, it's obviously tough right now, but obviously I love watching just different highlights on YouTube or whatever, the web, just to see what other guys are doing, and stay in the loop of what's new in the goalie world.
So when you did your visualization during this tournament, you're like mind's eye seeing yourself skating into that crease in that sick USA gear that you had and stopping shots, doing a warm up. Like what, a lot of people hear that term, as you said, but what for both of you guys, we start with you, Dustin, and Spencer, if you do a lot of visualization, people hear the term, but some kids don't really know how they do it. Like, is it just like what you would see if a game was going on in front of you, sort of moving around, eyes closed type of thing? Can you give us any sort of little taste of how you use it?
Yeah, I just do it pretty much just laying in bed. I like to do it while I'm meditating as well. So I'll do a lot of deep breaths and then integrate some visualization in terms of, like, as a goal, you've seen so many different shots come your way, and a lot of them are very similar. So you might see a guy come down the wall and rip it right into your glove. Like, you've probably seen that hundreds of times. So just having that, visualize that in your head so that when it comes, you know exactly what to do. I work with a mental strength coach, and I've been working for him the last 3 years. And the term we like to use is remembering the future. So, like 2 years ago, when I had no playoff experience in Everett, before the playoffs even started, we worked on remembering the future. So I don't have that experience, but I gotta obtain it before I even play. So remembering that, or just visualizing what's gonna potentially happen first round of playoffs, what guys on the other team, what their power play looks like, what they do that are pretty common things that take place. So I think just the visualization goes a lot farther than just seeing a puck on your glove or whatnot.
Okay, and Spencer, to you, with USA Hockey, you guys have both been through the program. Were there mentors that reached out to you either before the tournament or during the tournament, or even outside of the tournament environment? What's been your experience with, say, the Strelo program, and talking to some of the guys that have gone through it over the years about how they had past goalies that have made the NHL, then reach out back to them? Have you guys had that type of experience through USA Hockey and the Strelo program?
Yeah, I know I got to. I had a couple people reach out to me. A couple after. I know Joe Wall reached out. He reached out, to congratulate me on the win and all that. But the nice thing about it, like you said, like the Strelo program, is the program's really done a great job at making the goalie community in USA Hockey feel really tight. Like we got all these guys, Wolfie, and the list goes on. Guys with their 01s, 00s, 02s, like Drew Comesso, who's supposed to be in Logan Stein, who's on our team. Like, we're all so familiar with each other before we get to that tournament, which I think that's what's great about it, is that it's almost, we get to that camp and it's kind of like a little goalie bonding time where we get to talk goalie, people understand what we're saying, you're not talking to just a player trying to talk about gear or whatever, everyone kind of understands what you're saying. So I think that's the nice thing, is that, and what actually helps us in the tournament, in that, goalie relationship in the tournament with, whoever's on the team as goalies, is that we get there and we're already so familiar with each other. Like, Wolfie and I, we've known each other for so long already. So and we've played together. So we know what we're like. We know what each other takes in warm-ups and all that stuff. We know what each other needs in practice. And so it helps, it kind of, you hit the ground running when you get to the tournament. So
I saw your head coach talk about how Spencer, you obviously were playing through all the elimination games, but how, Dustin, you played a big role as part of that group and the back and forth. Like, what's that relationship like in terms of, do you offer advice? Are you guys comparing notes on situational things, like whether it's looking for a certain shot on the power play? When you come to the bench, are you talking to each other? Or is it also at times about knowing when to just leave the other guy alone? Like, you guys have things in your game that are similar and obviously things that are unique. Do you go back and forth on that stuff?
I think, like in my role, obviously Nider was the guy hitting the ice running, and like, I knew coming in that I just had to be as supportive as I possibly could. And, I know Nider's game. He's super, super composed and super structured. I took a couple big things out of his game in Plymouth that I thought have helped, especially the last couple of weeks. And I know come like the tournament, especially in the medal rounds there, just really getting the guys energized on the bench. Nida comes over, I give him his water bottle. He squirts some water in the air, and we get a fist bump, and that's about it for the TV timeout. So, basically let him do his thing. We both have our own routines. You barely see either of us, around come pregame, but it's my role is to just give the boys some energy and provide the support that everybody needed. So, I thought it ended up working out very well, and very grateful to be a part of it.
Now, you mentioned some things in his game that you feel like you took out of, that you look to add to yours, or can you give us examples, or are you okay to share any? Like something that, and maybe other kids will hear it and say, yeah, geez, I never looked at it that way. I'd love to see if I can put that in my game.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been like the super athletic, like always try to go after pucks, but I've been trying to more just like let pucks come to you. And he does a real good job of, keeping his like elbows almost pinned in a way that, he drops, and it basically covers every square inch between your pants and your pads. So I had a lot of trouble during the summer where under the glove over the pad was, caused me some issues. And I thought a little bit of glove positioning and, I thought it's helped wonders. And, it's just the little things that help in a big way. I mean, everybody's got their style of play, but those little details kind of can go a long way if you're able to implement them.
And over to you, Spence. Is there anything when you're watching Dustin that over the years, whether it's this camp, this World Juniors, or past experiences, where it's like, hey man, I like that part of your game. Where you're picking his brain and asking him about his philosophy on something.
Yeah. I mean, I love his edge work. I think I take a lot out of that. His ability to skate throughout the crease, side to side, shuffles. It's explosive, but very, it's smooth. It's very smooth and compact, and so I take a lot out of his edge work. And I think a lot of something that we both were bounce ideas off of were longer pushes, going from maybe like one dot to the other dot on the other side. Those longer pushes, which can be hard sometimes. We did a lot of stuff on that. So I mean, I really like looking at his edge work is actually something that I really like to watch. And I know in practice, so just when he was going in the drills, I was definitely watching that for sure.
Was there something in particular? I mean, obviously, all goalie geeks listening to this, something in particular about that long push in terms of the way he opened up or didn't, or things that you took out of it?
Yeah, I mean, something that we were both like looking at for me, and with also our goalie coach at the tournament, Coach Mayotte. We were bouncing ideas, and something I found was like that back arm. So whatever side you push to, that back arm, getting that through is something that's huge. I mean, a lot of goalies sometimes will push and they'll leave that back arm kind of behind, like you just did. And also that back leg is something that can drag sometimes. So we worked on getting those across. And also when you get to that dot, making sure you're not stopping and having your feet so up ice, is you really got to think about how, and it's not, I'll do it. I'll make that long push, get there, but my feet are up ice. And I go in the butterfly, and I'll sit there. I'm looking at it. And I'm like literally facing the neutral zone dot almost, because it's just that's the easier way. So I got to fight. You got to get that back. Your torso rotated so it's more on an angle towards that face-off.
So get that early rotation in the push rather than that, as you said, that back arm sort of. Dustin will know this phrase, the old counter rotation.
Yeah, like to add on that, like going right to left for us, I found was pretty easier. Just like you have the stick coming around already, so that obviously helps. But going left to right, where you're having to bring your glove around, it's different, and it's definitely harder than already having a tool that brings your shoulder around. So obviously the first couple of days of camp, that dot to dot drill, and like I'd get beat high glove, and Mayo would just be like, "Hey, you're not square. You got to bring that shoulder around." And after a few days, it kind of just became a habit, and obviously a tool that's pretty significant in terms of covering space, and that little detail can make or break a save or not.
Nice. All about getting there and being square, right?
Exactly.
Now, what about pressure stuff? Do you guys talk at all about how you just do? Like, how do you handle, and Spencer, obviously the biggest moment, the gold medal game, like from a distance from the couch, it's hard to imagine what that's like. It's hard to imagine how you guys manage it. And I know you've been doing it your whole lives, but are there any tips that, if you were talking to a younger you, that maybe the first time you were going into that, what advice would you give yourself in terms of how to handle that moment, how to handle that pressure? Because, especially with no NHL this year, like the eyes of the world, hockey world, were on you guys in that gold medal game, especially, but really throughout the tournament.
Yeah. Pressure, it's something that I kind of been actually focusing a lot on since quarantine. That's, another way I look at it. And the big thing that came out for me, and I kind of get into this, like when I got to Boston College, is that, pressure is, the pressure is only as, daunting as you make it, really, for yourself. And for me, I was really just working on letting go of things, just going out there and just trusting your preparation and the things you've done in practice and the work you put in, and just kind of look at as the game as a reward for your work and practice. As you know what, like, all right, I'm here, I've put in the work. Let's just go have fun, like, you know what, like we love this game and that's why we play, and you can't forget about that. And it's kind of like, I know you guys talked to Demko about his whole thing about the letting go of the big game preparations. And it's funny because he actually told me the same story a couple of years before. Was we were actually driving to a goalie lesson in Connecticut, and I'm not sure if it was after his first or second year pro or something. And he was talking about how the AHL, like in the beginning for him it was a grind, and how he lost those first couple of games. And he said, he talked about how he had this crazy routine at Boston College. And then he eventually, after a couple of games in pro, he realized he was just so tired or whatever. And then eventually he's like, you know what, I'm just going to go out there and play some soccer, and then, get on the ice and just play. And he ended up winning that game. And that's when it kind of hit me is, like, all right, you know what, it doesn't have to be, as hard and rigorous as, people think. And for me, going to that gold medal game, it kept reminding me of that, just that, go out there, have fun, trust yourself. You know what, just let go of it, let it go, and that's kind of how I've learned to manage pressure. It's just, what, it's still just a hockey game. The puck's the same size, the goal's the same size, and you've been there before, so just go out there and do your thing.
It's sometimes an easy thing to say, right, but a harder thing to do. Have you guys found tools over the years that help you get to that point, Spencer, where you, and Dusty too, Dustin, if you want to answer after, like, like a lot of the tools that can create these pregame routines are designed to sort of take our minds off pressure or manage that. And yet, as Thatcher told us, he ended up with too many. Like, have you found the ones that for you let you get to that state easily, or is it a matter of sort of getting rid of almost all of them?
Yeah, I mean, since probably the past 2 years now, I've been kind of getting rid of a couple things, but then I've added a few things here and there. But I made it more of a routine, like a light routine. It's kind of like to put it, like a flexible one that's able to be I can adapt, change if I need to be, but it's flexible. It flows. You get to the rink. I'm not going crazy. I show up. I don't need to get there that early. I can get there 2 hours, hour 45, whatever it is. I make it flexible, and certain things are like, I get there, I tape my stick. I do, I like to roll out with a lacrosse ball a little bit on certain parts, and then do a couple these things for the ankle, hip, and back. and then I go do the team warm up, and then I kind of just I do a couple breathing things that are really quick. I used to do them for a long time, but I kind of I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep it short just so make it easier. And I found that's what works. And then I kind of just go out there after that, and I kind of just try to have fun after that.
Dustin, it's different for everyone. Can you walk us through yours? How yours has evolved over the years to manage these big pressure moments? And because you've been in playoff games in the Dub, and you're about to head down to a pro season by the sounds of it, maybe in the American Hockey League, depending on what's going on with the WHL season. How has your routine to get ready to play and manage pressure evolved over the years?
Yeah, definitely. I think since I started in Everett, you come in to your first year of junior and you think, oh, you got to have this super intense routine, and that's what you begin with. You got all these certain things that you got to do in a certain time period, and if you don't get to it, well, who knows if you're gonna have a good game. But over the time I've been in Everett and working with my mental coach, it's just been exactly what Nigel just stated, the adaptability sort of thing. And there's obviously things that I love to do. I love going on the bench to tape my stick and incorporating some visualization on there, pretty short, but and also just some affirmations and just some reminders of relax, go out there, have fun. Before the gold medal game, it was one of the things I said was, you'll never be in this position again. Make the most of it, enjoy it, and really try to live this moment out as long as possible. And adaptability has been huge for me. I like to get through my routines of juggling and stretching and making sure the body's nice and warm and mentally prepared as well. But I'm not gonna ruin myself if I don't get to one thing before a game. At the World Juniors, you don't have as much time as you might want, or maybe even too much at times, but or maybe you don't even have access to certain areas of the building that you normally go to. So just adapting to what you have and what the resources you have are, and just letting it flow, not overreacting to stuff you can't control, and really just control what you can control. And at the end of the day, you've put all the work in and the training and the stuff off the ice, and making sure your body is healthy and in a good spot, that when it does come for puck drop, that you're ready to go no matter the circumstances.
Well said. We'll wrap this up here in a couple minutes, guys. I do have a couple of quick questions. This is a weird one. Did you guys hear from your NHL teams? Dustin, yours is weird because obviously Barb's is across the bench for that gold medal game for Canada, but I'm curious if you heard from Siggy during the camps at all, or did they leave you alone? And Spencer, for you especially, that gold medal game, you're going, fellow Panthers prospect in the other end. We all saw the interview as we're watching at home with Roberto Luongo. How much input during a tournament or heading into a tournament do you hear from guys like that? Or is that just, at this point, they know you guys are doing your thing and leave you to it?
Yeah, I kept in touch with Siggy throughout the tournament. Brad Treliving texted me, just said good luck and keep her going. And obviously text with Barbs a couple times, just in terms of basically said good luck, just not against us. And about getting rides to and from Calgary after the tournament. But it was awesome just to keep in touch with them and see what's going on, and kind of what the plan was after the tournament. And obviously it kind of flew by now that we've been in Calgary for a week or so already. So time has flown by, but good to keep in touch with those guys even throughout the tournament. And at the end of the day, you got to take your mind off hockey sometimes, and when you're away from the rink, just kind of relax and not lose yourself over something you can only control in the building. So
Spencer, you hear from Lou or any of those guys?
They were actually pretty good at least let me do my thing and just kind of just leave me alone for a little bit. I think they might have said congrats on when I won a game or whatever, maybe a couple of times maybe, but for the most part it's just kind of just wait. And obviously after the gold medal game, they texted me, but they were pretty hands off and just, let me do my thing, which is what I kind of like, because especially at this tournament, it's a lot of people are watching, I think, and random people will just start texting me, like trying to, have thoughts on the game. And I'm like, dude, I haven't talked to you in 5 years. Like, what makes you talk to me now? Right. So, I mean, as much as, a lot of people want to reach out. I mean, the people that know me best and who really know me, like, people on Florida, I think they've gotten to know me well. My parents, they know, like, if I need to talk to them or I want to talk to them, I'll talk to them, I'll reach out. But for the most part, they know that I'm kind of trying to just do my own thing and just live in the moment for wherever I am.
So it sounds like the Panthers know that then. And this is the last one. I got to ask, so where do the gold medals go? And what happens to the sick gear? Because I know different companies. Spencer, you're in the Bauer. You've switched since we last talked. It was all about the Vaughn. You're in the Bauer now. Wolfie with the first, sort of one of the first sets of CCM custom printed gear. Like, you guys got some special things in mind for that, and gonna have a little shrine at some place back home at some point? Or Dustin, you're wearing yours at camp right now?
Yeah, I think obviously it'll stay in my house forever, but until then, still gotta stop some pucks with them. But the gold medal is pretty safe in the hotel room here. Probably have it laying around, but want to keep it locked up in that safe as much as possible, just in case. You never know. And it's obviously pretty special. So between the gear, the jerseys, the gold medal, like, it all adds up to something that was pretty spectacular. So just to have those items for the rest of my life, it's a proud moment for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I have my gold. I mean, we haven't moved into our dorms yet. We're actually in a hotel right now for a little bit. But so I have my gold medal. My jersey is, I think, at the rink, actually. I think I got washed, but I think it's at the rink. And my pads are actually, they're coming. They're not here right now, but they're getting shipped here because I had to leave them in Edmonton for a little bit. But they're coming out here, and I think I'm just gonna probably hold on to the pads and gloves, but the helmet and the gold medal and the jersey, I might try to do something up, put it in the basement all together, try to find something cool to do. But it just definitely go somewhere in the house for sure.
Nice. Hey guys, well, it's very well deserved for both of you. Congratulations again. And I guess this is the nature of hockey. Like, boom, Spencer, you're right back into an NCAA season. Dustin, you're at camp. I know it just keeps going, but I just wanted to make sure we had a chance from the in-goal audience to say congrats, but also say thank you for taking the time today to walk us through, some of the details that you probably don't get asked about from a non-goalie audience, and to share your experiences with all the goalies that listen. I know it means a lot to our audience, and I can't thank you guys both enough for taking the time today.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Nice to talk a little about, goalie stuff instead of just the standard questions. So. Yeah,
no, thanks. Appreciate it.
We'll always be here for that, guys. So, if you ever just feel like you need to talk goaltending, you know that we're here for that one. So thanks again, guys, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Over the course of this podcast's history, there's been intriguing discussions. There's been fascinating conversations. That I would describe as one of the coolest experiences where I just felt like I was the proverbial fly on the wall, listening to those two just rip back and forth and engage with one another. It was uplifting in one way, but so educational in another.
Well, it kind of made you understand why the coaching staff after the gold medal game talked about the role that Dustin Wolf played as well. As much as Spencer was front, and in the spotlight and the winning goaltender in the gold medal game and throughout the sort of elimination, like, they talked about how they really were a tandem that worked together. And I think that came through in their interview. A little behind the scenes sort of paint a picture for you, because because we don't run the video on these things. Dustin, obviously, with taking some pride in that USA jersey you mentioned, he's in Calgary now, skating with sort of that group that's bound for Stockton in the AHL as the Flames get ready to start their season. Excuse me. So the interesting car ride with Jason LaBarbera back up to camp, but he still had the jersey. And as he's talking to me from the hotel room, he had set up his USA jersey sort of hanging behind him over his shoulders as a backdrop for the interview. And I thought that was cool. And then Spencer was actually in a car. He had his buddy driving him back he's already played a game at Boston College. His buddy's driving him back, from practice at Boston College. They're living in a hotel right now, not in dorms yet, he said. And so he's basically was in a car having that conversation in a car ride on the way back, and yet fully engaged in our conversation, as you could tell from the answer. So yeah, I can't thank those guys enough. And at a busy time with a lot of media requests, to make the time for us and for our audience is sincerely appreciated on our behalf.
And next week it's the Canadians' turn. Hutch, give us an idea of what's in store with Devin and Dylan.
I think you're going to get a lot of what you got with these two guys, but one thing that I just really loved about the conversation was their personalities shine through. It's not really just an interview; it was a conversation amongst the three of us. There were a lot of laughs, and the two of them never stopped smiling. I think honestly, more than any interview we've done on here, I think you can feel personality shine through, and I think you're going to feel a connection to both these guys. Fantastic young goaltenders. So super interview, and I look forward to bringing it to you next week.
Yeah, and some credit to Hutch because he had a little fun with it. He took a little bit of a different approach, and they played some games and got to know each other and had a little personality. You did a good job of letting that personality shine through. So I can't wait to share that with everyone. And then guys, the week after that, like, we're already set here. We're gonna roll back into some NHL guys. Spent an hour with Devin Dubnyk on the phone as the Sharks broke camp. Everything from his experiences, coming out of the pause and getting traded, and now being stuck, but not stuck is not the way you want to put it, but in Arizona, and that whole team sort of without their families because they're the San Jose Sharks and they're playing in Arizona for the first little while. But just everything, like coming up, how the games changed, technique, how gears changed, wearing a practice glove, like everything. So we are loaded for the next couple of weeks here at In Goal Radio, and it's going to be, we're going to kick the season off right with the NHL with a ton of great guests here.
From big time experiences to being a great teammate to a new start. That is what we're dealing with right now in this tandem stretch on In Goal Radio, the podcast. Thanks to Spencer and Dustin for joining us on this episode. The Team Canada angle is next week. Thanks to everybody for chipping in, as well as Cam over at The Hockey Shop, thehockeyshop.com, and Source for Sports Surrey. Love to stick around and chat, guys, but I'm going on to the website to put in my code INGOAL20. We'll chat with you next week with the Team Canada angle. Looking forward to how this 2021 has started out. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll talk goaltending again next week.